You're in the right place. Hello, I'm Dan Harris.
Hi, and I'm Claudia Koestler.
You're over here, over there. Welcome to Over Here, Over There, a global conversation about how we see others and others see us. I'm Dan Harris. I'm going to hand this over to my podcast colleague, Claudia Koestler, senior editor at the Süddeutsche Zeitung in Germany, who will tell us in a moment what's on her mind this week. But first, as a reminder, you can follow us on social media and contact us via our website at overhereoverthere.org. We'd love to hear from you. And please don't forget to subscribe and tell everyone about the podcast. And now, without further ado, over to Claudia.
Thank you, Dan, and welcome back to Over Here, Over There, today with one of our comments on current affairs, and quite a serious one, I gotta admit. I am talking politics, democracy, money, power, food, and the future, or in short, farming. And a monologue that will make me pretty unpopular with certain circles, I can tell you. I don't know if you've seen those pictures on the news where you are, but my home country Germany lately has seen pictures and scenes like never before. Thousands and thousands of farmers taking to the streets all across the country. In nationwide campaigns, they organized rally rides, blocked city centers and motorway access roads, and caused traffic jams that stretched for miles. And while I do understand their reasons, let me explain why I think that what they are doing is highly dangerous, not only for them, not only for Germany, but also for the entire civilization. But first, let me give you some tiny examples of what was going on. In Brandenburg, entire towns could no longer be reached by car. In Emden, a WE plant was at a standstill because nobody could get through to the factory. Tractors, lorries and cars blocked the gates of a large printing company in Ahrensburg near Hamburg for a good 6 hours. As a result, the editions of certain newspapers like Bild, Welt, Süddeutsche Zeitung and Hamburger Abendblatt could only be delivered with severe delays. And the Green Minister for Economic Affairs, Robert Habeck, was harassed at a ferry pier. So why are farmers venting their frustration that way? Farmers seem to have all kinds of reasons to take to the streets. The wrangling over the tax exemption for agricultural diesel in Germany was just the latest impetus that triggered the protests in this country. The EU's agricultural policy, with its changing subsidy strategies, is putting farmers between Poland and Brittany under constant pressure. Some benefit, using the subsidies very skillfully, and many need them to survive economically. However, a constant stream of new regulations, some of which change every year, suffocate sensible ideas for the benefit of water, soil, plants and animals in a tangle of bureaucracy and sometimes even run counter to good intentions. Farmers may feel disregarded by society and politicians, but they are forgetting one of the non-negotiable principles of democracy. Conflicts are to be resolved through peaceful dialogue. And in order to achieve that, you need to consider the broader picture, instead of pinpointing everything on a fall guy or on one decision or on one party. To that broader picture belongs that politicians are heavily subsidizing farms. On average, each farm receives almost 48,000 euros in subsidies per year, according to the German government's agricultural policy report. The majority of these are subsidies from the EU, while the Eurodiesel subsidy from the federal government is a rather small item in comparison. According to the government's calculations, subsidies account for almost half of farmers' income. However, this also shows how dependent they are on them. And while more and more small farms close, for many others business has been not too bad recently. Average farm profits here in Germany rose by almost half in the past financial year to a good 115,000 euros. This is according to the so-called Situation Report published annually by the German Farmers Association. Farmers also benefit from the fact that the EU artificially increases food prices in Europe. This is because Brussels imposes tariffs on imports, thereby protecting local farmers from cheaper competition from overseas. Beef, for example, from South America is a good 40% more expensive as a result, while imports of poultry meat are more than 20% more expensive. So It not only hurts and drives a wedge between our society when farmers self-paint banners threatening people with starvation, it plays to a power structure that does not exist. As the farmer is not working out of his mercy, it is a classical deal. The farmer profits from the taxpayer's money, just as the taxpayer profits from the produce and food. Neglecting the mutual benefits of the system and structure like this is a dangerous misinterpretation of power. Of course, everyone is allowed to express their views in Germany. Freedom of expression is a valuable asset, all within the framework of applicable rules, of course. But some of the incidences showed that some farmers are no longer concerned with the cause, but with rioting and intimidation. The majority of farmers may not approve of such attacks, but this radical section of the farming community is currently shaping the public image. The stakes are high. So far, large sections of the population have shown understanding for the farmers and their protests, but sympathy is quickly squandered when decency and reasonable moderation are lost. One thing, in my opinion, is certain. Far-reaching reforms are needed for sustainable and future-proof agriculture. This means careful use of resources such as soil and water, less use of pesticides and far-sighted farming methods that will still ensure good, sustainable harvests in 20 or 50 years' time. So maybe farmers should not only look at consumers, voters, politicians, but also take a close look at their own federations if the motives and representations have been right in the last years and now. Tractors can be used to block roads and factory gates, but they cannot stop the rapid changes that agriculture is undergoing and must undergo in order to secure us all a future. We need a variety of ideas, not a division of society, not an us versus them approach. We need a willingness to compromise and a willingness to work together. After all, agriculture is everyone's business.
Thanks, Claudia. Thanks to you out there for listening. If you have feedback on today's or previous episodes, please let us know on social media and our website, overhereoverthere.org, where you can also find our Patreon page. Please don't forget to subscribe and tell good people like yourselves about the podcast. Until next time, thanks for listening to Over Here, Over There.